Vincent, we're live.
How's my sound?
It sounds good. I can hear
Okay,
you fine.
I got new headsets.
Good for you. Good
Yeah,
for
because you
you.
said that they were not working, so I got new ones.
Great. Well, you do sound better.
Well, thank you. Yeah, I did it for you, Claire.
Well, I think it's important when you're trying to tell people. The thing is, people do think you're a bit of a moron if you have really bad audio. They just kind of, yeah, treat you like a moron. Oh, I instinctively do anyway. And it's really annoying. It's like you have to strain to hear and you expect, I guess, more bang for your buck if you concentrate, and then you find that the person hasn't got anything worth saying anyway.
Mhm.
So,
Um,
was there anything
well,
you
anyway.
mhm.
Well, I'm it looks like all these groypers want the Democrats in now, right? And there's a big war. Lots of turning people are turning on Nick Fuentes.
Why?
Lots of people are turning on. I guess because Nick Fuentes isn't endorsing anybody except for the Democrats. He didn't endorse Nick Fuentes didn't endorse Casey Pooch. He didn't endorse. Now he's against Dan Bilzerian and talking shit about Dan Bilzerian.
Well, I suppose he suddenly seems isolated because he doesn't stand for anything anymore. And anti-Semitism is, well, quite a common brand, I suppose. You don't need him to do your anti-Semitism. And
No, it's around.
yeah, and
He's not yeah, he's not the necessary big wig of anti-Semitism anymore.
well, because the prize seems
Though people are saying, go ahead. The price seems
well
what?
seems to be Tucker Carlson's at the moment, because people have been saying,
Um,
excuse me, because you have Nick Fuentes on his show, that he must be the biggest, baddest anti-Semite around, and so you know other people have that label now. But Tucker Carlson is the only serious person, isn't he?
huh?
Tucker Carlson is the only serious person.
Well, he's the one. He takes himself seriously and at least tries to be. At least Tucker Carlson tries to be professional.
Well, nobody else can be taken seriously. I mean, okay, Vivek Ramaswamy. Well, I mean, he's ambitious and he's serious.
Yes, but he might not get in because of all these groypers that would rather have a Democrat in. All of them that I talk to, they're just like, "Oh, I'm willing to lose this race." They're all willing to lose the race to Amy Acton, and they want to punish the Republicans.
Yeah, and I guess that's when I say it's all a waste of time. You should have a one-party state.
Mm,
Well, it is a waste of time, isn't it? Have you had a look at Amy Acton?
a little bit. I heard she's Jewish, but I don't know if that's true. Because they just call anyone they don't like Jewish. Anyone who's just not on their wavelength is Jewish.
Mm-hmm. Well,
And now they call each other feds all the time. Everything is you're a fed.
and Jews call each other Nazis.
Yeah, I guess when they don't agree with each other.
So, I mean, everybody's so crazy and stupid, and I guess very easy to divide and rule by by the powers that be.
Oh, shit. Um, well, I don't think the powers that be need to divide anyone. I think these people are doing well enough on their own.
Yeah. I mean, there are already all these divisions anyway, and I've been saying, with Freudian theory, where even if nobody is dividing us, we have, our psyches are divided into three: the id, the ego, and the superego. And then you think of, all these people in the country or in our town, and most of the time they don't know what they want, and therefore you need a religion. There you go. That's why you need religion, or people will just go off on their crazy tangents and inflict it on the rest of us.
Well, no, yeah, it's experimentation. America survived because we allowed experimentation and new things to arise, and some of them failed. I mean, yeah, you can fail at something new, and but usually it's only a small group that tried it. And you know, you have to allow failure. If you want to advance, you have to have failures, It's like, you know, it, it's like the first time you build the airplane, it's not going to work. You have to keep trying and trying and trying and trying and trying and trying and trying until you finally get it.
Absolutely. So,
Right. So that's how America works. We allow a new set of ideas to spring forth, and a third political party can be like there was the anti-Masonic Party, which did pretty well. The anti-Masonic Party was doing pretty good. I think it was the largest third party ever in America. Let
never
me look
heard
that
of
up.
it.
The anti-Masonic Party, you never
Nope.
heard of it? Oh, no, there was a big anti-Masonic Party in America in the 1840s, I want to say. Let's look it up. Hold on, let me look it up.
Why would they object to the Masons?
Well, because they felt that the Masons were taking over society and were all the judges and politicians and stuff like that, and they thought that they were up to no good.
And were they?
Well, I don't know. I mean, I know the Masons are up to no good with the Noahide laws. I don't know what their you know reasons were. Why isn't my X opening?
Well,
Here we go.
without
Okay.
Freemasonry, there would be no American Republic, would there?
Well, I don't know if that's
Well, you
true.
can't.
I don't know if that's true.
Well, we think
Wait, was the anti-Masonic part? Go ahead.
others didn't exactly agree with each other on religion, did they? I just say it's the
I'm
earliest third
asking
party in the United States. Formerly
yeah,
a
it
single
was a
issue
big one.
party, it strongly opposed Freemasonry in the United States. It was active from the late 1820s, especially in the Northeast, and later attempted to become a major party by expanding its platform to take positions on other issues. It declined quickly after 1832 as most members joined the new Whig Party. It dissolved after 1838.
That's right. They became the part they integrated into the Whig Party. So other things are allowed. They're allowed to try, and they're allowed to become successful. And if the anti-Masonic Party maybe played their cards right, they could have become a major political party.
Well, if they just stayed
Um,
one party, then they could have done all these changes. They could have done all these changes without, upsetting too many people.
it was the first time. It was the first time a third party candidate carried a state. So it was the first time. So they carried the state of Vermont. That's interesting. Oh, it peaked at 25 seats in the U.S. House.
Hmm.
Okay, well, 25 people, 25 seats in the House is not nothing. The Nazis started out with something like that, very small number of seats in the House.
Hmm.
So, You know, I'm for experimentation and trying something new.
Well, you should be careful about the resources that you expend on new
Well,
ideas.
I know, but
Anyway, before we,
it depends.
I just thought I'd mention
Mm,
before we leave the subject. Shall I read the paragraph about the anti-Masonic Party?
sure.
The party was founded following the disappearance of William Morgan, a former Mason who had become a prominent critic of the Masonic organization. Many believe that Masons had murdered Morgan for speaking out against Masonry, and subsequently many churches and other groups condemned Masonry. As many Masons were prominent businessmen and politicians, a backlash against the Masons was also a form of anti-elitism. The anti-Masons purported that Masons posed a threat to American republicanism by secretly trying to control the government. Furthermore, there was a strong fear that Masonry was hostile to Christianity. Mass opposition to Masonry eventually coalesced into a political party. Before and during the presidency of John Quincy Adams, there was a period of political realignment. The anti-Masons emerged as an important third-party alternative to Andrew Jackson's Democrats and Adams's National Republicans. In New York, the anti-Masons supplanted the National Republicans as a primary opposition to the Democrats. Okay, I won't read any more. But yes, thank you for mentioning that. I didn't know.
Yeah, well, I'm glad they were able to form and they did merge with the Whig Party. And I'm sure that they went on to influence, even if they didn't become a major third party. But 25 seats is not nothing. I mean, I wish I had a party that had 25 seats in Congress. I'd be quite happy with that. I'd put that little feather in my hat. And yeah, I mean, no, I want third parties to be able to grow and try something new and have total independence and not have oversight by some monolithic party. And with your single party, there would be factions in the party anyway. What does it matter if there's all these different factions inside the same party fighting for supremacy, the communists and the fascists and the these and the that, and all these different sectors of the party fighting for preeminence? Like,
That's fine.
that doesn't sound good.
No, there will always be
That doesn't
factions because
sound
people will disagree about all kinds of things. But at least after the issue is addressed, the factions will just fade away until something else comes up. It doesn't
no,
have
I
to
don't.
be solidified and made official.
Factions don't fade away. Okay, but what if them want more socialism and one of them wants less socialism?
No, but I mean, there will always be, I don't know, more. I mean, I guess in America you have this, states' rights, federal supremacy thing. I mean, it will always be an issue. So you might as well just, allow people who, sometimes might be on one side and even, at other times might be on another side. So um, I think it's important, to allow a certain fluidity instead of saying, "Oh, you supported the issue, now forever you will be in this party, and you can never get out of it." That would be, too restrictive. So these factions form on an ad hoc basis, because somebody just doesn't agree with this war or that policy, and then, after time they will just, it will fade away. The issue once addressed will fade away.
Issues don't fade away like that, especially major ones. Like, I don't know, something like yeah, like more socialism, less socialism, support the war, don't support the war, abortion, no abortion, theocracy, not theocracy. Like, there's going to be a lot of things that people are going to fight
Yeah,
over.
and let it be contained within the party as these matters arise. I don't see why that cannot be managed.
And what if there's a lot of people who have a radically different ideology than the party and they want to try something new and they want to try pressing something totally different that the party, and they can't just fit into the party because the party is too, it's not fluid enough for them.
Well, people will always complain, but the point is you keep everybody under this big tent, this broad church, and this gives, a sense of unity, and the fight is over. We can
What
forget.
unity between people who are fighting,
But they might agree
between
with
people
each
who are
other on
fighting for
other
control?
things.
Okay, but they're going to be fight control of the government, like you said. Actions are going to want to fight for control.
Yeah, so let it happen organically, but just sort of keep the machinery of this one party state, and stop confusing the public with it. I mean, the point
But
is, as long as you're doing a reasonably good job as a government, and the people think you're not crazy or evil or stupid, then you can carry on. It's only when people think, what's going on? Are they crazy? Are they stupid? Are they,
well,
you know?
I don't think most people who vote for the Democratic Party think the Democrats are stupid or crazy. I mean, most people who vote for that party think that they're, you know, they have it going on.
Yeah, but they'll change their minds because the Democrats have changed their own policies, because they started off being the policy of the KKK, and now they're the policy of BLM. So it means that
Yeah, well,
they had
they
no
improve.
political
They,
principles. They're just scrabbling for votes from wherever they can find them.
well, yes, in America, people progress, things change. We don't want to stay the same all the time. I'm glad that the Democratic
Yeah,
Party
and
changes
I'm
over
not saying you
time.
have to, but I'm saying whatever issues that arise in the course of time and politics, let it be resolved within the party. What's wrong with that?
Because that's not how people operate. They want to be able to break free from you know the monolith. They want to be able to try something brand new. People are not cookie
Why? It's better
cutters.
to be within the party, and be
Why? But
able to
what if the party is shitty and crazy and fucked up and you don't want to be
then
part of
change
it?
it.
And what if you? Okay, well, that doesn't always work so easily like that.
Look, you've had your system for so long now, and Washington warned you against it, and things are not going that well. So why don't you just admit that you might
Okay,
have made a
well,
mistake?
I don't think a one-party state is what's going to fix our problems, and we have less problems than other people have. Hello? Hello?
Hi.
Hello? What
Hi.
happened?
I don't know. You just left and came back again.
Oh. Um, well, we're doing a lot better than a lot of other people are doing.
Well, people, I mean, you can say that, and there will be Americans who agree with you and others who don't. But I think on the whole, people do have issues with the government, don't they?
Okay, but people are not asking for a one-party state. I don't know anyone in this country that's
Okay,
asking for
I
a
know
one-party
a lot of
state.
people will just put up with stuff, right? And
No, no, they
it's for
don't. In
the
America, we don't.
innovators and the people
No,
who cares about they don't know what they want. As long as you give
yes,
them
they
an
do.
appearance of competence, they'll be fine. So
And a single
let's
party
not even
part.
pretend that we care about, what the hoi polloi think.
Well, obviously they're looking for their votes in
Hello.
America, so they do care. They do care. They're looking for their votes. You can't hear me? You can't hear me?
Yes, I can now. So yeah, I mean, obviously, you need to care to some extent what people think, but not about the minutiae. Of course, they're going to, oh, what's this? It sounds commie, fascist, Nazi, or whatever. Because yeah, um, you know, one party states would be controversial, in an ocean of representative democracy.
Well, at least with the two-party
Okay,
system, at least with the multiple party
okay, I know
system.
you're never going to change your mind, and I know everybody will agree with you and whatever. But I'm going to read the comments now. There's plenty of reasons not to do it that you can easily come up with. Nobody wants it, but then they haven't thought about it, have they? And even if they thought about it and wanted to do it, they would be scared. of saying it because it's heretical to the um, commonly agreed
Well, it
to
reduces
idea of,
freedom.
of having
It
elections.
reduces freedom. It reduces people from being able to go and
How
innovate
do you?
and
You've never
create
tried
everything.
it.
No, well, no, I don't want to be part of
Reduces
one
the freedom
party.
of what?
Okay, if
Reduces the freedom of
okay,
what?
well, the Democrats have the freedom to create a totally separate, unique platform away from the Republicans, and it works for the Democrats. And when the
Well,
Republicans
they
are
just
in,
want their own club. I get it. They
okay, well,
want
they
their own
have
political
issues
club.
that they stand on, and the people and some people believe in those issues, and they were able to make those issues prominent and are able to make them, center stage because they have their own party
I'm saying
instead
it's
of
unnecessarily
instead.
divisive, but fine. You like the show. You like all the
No,
conventions
it's
and
not a show or
whatnot and the
convention.
fighting.
You're just
I
you
get
just
it that you like it.
you always
You
just
like your dog and pony
It's not a
show.
dog and pony
Fine.
show. It's not a dog and pony
Of
show.
course it is.
No, I'm sorry. They do look for votes. They do want to. That's how gay marriage
Yeah,
got
of
in.
course they look
Gay
for
gay
votes, and
marriage.
that's
Yeah,
the only way they can win.
yeah. Well, yeah. They look for what the people want, and then they give the people what they want.
Oh, right. Like the people ever get what they want.
Well, sometimes they do if they're part of the Democratic
Okay,
Party and
why
they
don't we just
win,
compare
and they're in. If your
or
party is
compare?
in, then you get what you want.
Yeah, but I'm saying these parties have no principles. They are amoral political tribes, and it causes unnecessary division. And really, a lot of things cannot be solved because no party thinks. I mean, okay, in the matter of education, it's so bad that you need more than a term of office to solve it, and nobody wants to touch it with a barge pole because they know that they won't be able to solve it within a term of office. So they never even start to solve the problem, and that's why everybody is getting stupider and stupider, and nobody's being properly educated or trained for anything, and that's why it sucks in all the migrants because at least they have had a proper education, or at least they have a better work ethic than the people in already in the country. And I'm saying it's all part of your problem, but I know you don't want to change anything, so fine. I'm going to read the comments now.
Well, I don't want to change the two party or the multiple party system. I do want to change other things, but not the multiple party system.
Yeah, but you're not going to change it. You're not going to change anything. I know I'm not going to change anything.
I
Nobody's going to
you have a
vote for
very
sexual
you have a very
liberalism. I
negative
know nobody's
you have
going
a
to vote for
very
sexual
negative a
liberalism.
very negative opinion of the individual person, and in
Yeah,
America,
I talk to them and
yeah,
they're stupid,
individual
right?
individual people have changed the world. They really have.
Yeah, but only if the system allows for it.
Okay, the
And
system
now
didn't
we
allow
have this
Margaret
sort of
Margaret
fake
Sanger.
democracy, this
I'm
fake
sorry, the
Christianity.
system didn't allow Margaret Sanger, and she still changed it. The system was totally against her, and she changed
No,
it.
no, okay, she just wanted free love, and
And
some guy invented the pill, and then the big pharma just sort of swooshed
okay,
in,
that
you
was
know.
later. This is when she changed, when she had to fight very hard to change that law. The government was not on her side. She had to fight very
The
hard.
fact is, free love has not been good.
You,
It's been a bad thing.
that's a different thing than whether or not she changed the world,
No,
because
yeah,
she
of course
did.
it's a bloody thing.
She changed the
She
world. The
wanted this
point is,
bad
she
thing,
changed the world. I don't think it was
yeah,
that.
for the worst.
Okay, that's your opinion, but she changed the world. Individuals can change the world.
Okay, she lowered white birth rates. I don't know if you're supposed to care about these things or not. Do you care now,
Well,
or maybe you don't today?
at the time, the birth rates needed to be lowered. They need to be elevated now, but at the time, yes.
Okay, but this can be controlled by the government saying we would like you to complete to have, I don't know, however many children that it determines it is needed, and the number can go up and down. China has a three-child policy, and so could America. Like, well, we want five, we want three, we want two, whatever. It can be done, but you reject the obvious and simple solution because you want to fiddle around.
Well, no, I just don't want to force everybody into my system like you do.
Well, of course, people are going to have to be forced because all political activists, they know that Congress is your legislature. Legislature means a place where all the laws come from, right? So that's why your politicians want to get into it. get into Congress where they make the laws.
Yeah, and they're elected by people.
Yeah, by dumbos.
Hmm.
Oh, they are.
I see, and you're not.
I mean, just two parties, and they're all unprincipled. And they don't even say, "Oh, we have the principle of doing this." It's like Democrat, Republican. It's meaningless. It's just names. And I guess a long time ago they had some disagreement about something that nobody now remembers, but the name stuck. And it's just stupid to be represented by a donkey or a elephant. I mean, come on. Actually, they do it in India because people there are illiterate and they would know which party to vote for unless they could see a picture of an elephant or a donkey or whatever. And these people shouldn't be voting. Illiterate people shouldn't be voting.
Well, then that you would have taken the vote away from a lot of Americans, who were illiterate.
Yeah,
Okay.
that doesn't matter. I'd be happy for the vote to be taken away from me if I was sure, well, not sure, but if I trusted my government to govern the country properly. I mean, I don't even vote. I've stopped voting, so, it's no big deal to me.
Okay, well, other people like voting.
Yeah, it doesn't matter what the sheeple want. I don't know why you pretend to care. You actually hate them and think they're degenerate and ugly and should become extinct. So now suddenly you're saying, "Oh, I really care about the people."
No, I don't want to take away their vote from them.
Well, in Australia, they actually have to vote or they get fined.
Yeah.
Yeah, so this means that it doesn't really do any good. And in America, in Australia, the Liberal Party is actually the Conservative Party. So, the British are so indifferent to even getting their story straight that they just, let the Australians think of themselves as liberals when they're supposed to be conservative. And anyway, it's the same thing anyway, basically. So, I mean that's how corrupt it is. Maybe you didn't know that. There are only two parties in Australia.
Well, yeah,
Well,
because the
the
population
ones that matter.
is divided along certain lines.
No, it's just it's a dog and pony show. But obviously, a lot of people, the sheeple like it because it supports a narrative that the government, is doing what they want. But ask for a referendum on anything, and the government freaks out. What actually let you vote on some policy that you really care about? No way. And that's why it took 20 years for UKIP to get their referendum
Okay, but they
to
got
leave the
it.
EU.
Okay, well,
Yeah, and it doesn't matter. The immigrants are still coming,
okay,
right?
but,
The people who came
illegally.
to
Okay,
UKIP.
okay, illegally. So, and that they did something. They got out of the European Union, so they were able to accomplish something.
It's all on paper.
Well, they were able to accomplish
And
something.
nobody is happy. And it's like, okay, the Americans voted for Trump and now he's in office, but they're not happy.
Okay, well, but that's not the fault of representative democracy.
Yes, of course it is,
No,
because Washington
anyone
voted
can,
against it.
anyone. No, he didn't rep against representative democracy.
Okay, shall I read you what he actually said?
He
Let
didn't
me
say
read it while you
representative
do.
democracy. I've read it. You sent it to me.
Oh, good. Okay, well, I'm glad you read it. What do you think he meant? He said no political parties. Representative democracy is getting parties to represent voters' wishes, right? That's what it is.
Yeah, that's how they set it up. That's how they set up the Congress for the voters to, for their wishes to be expressed through who they voted for. Yes.
A better alternative would be for all the important groups of the country to form themselves into groups and have a leader. So you can have, I don't know, farmers, right? Farmers, factory owners, um, whatever. I mean, I can think of lots of groups who might want to lobby the government on the or about this or that. So let them do it that way. Isn't that much better than having a rigged political system?
So you just like you accuse it of being rigged, of not working. I mean, these are all your, oh, it's not working. Like, what do you mean it's not working? And you know, I don't believe all this conspiracy that everything is handpicked. You don't really actually vote. I don't really go for all that.
Yeah, the people probably vote, and the you know, yeah, the hanging chad thing. Okay, these are the sacred things you want to believe in, that democracy works. Fine.
Okay, well, our country's working better than most other countries.
Okay, who is saying that apart from you? Maybe other Americans don't agree, and it has been said that America is a declining empire, and it no longer has its own industry. The only thing it's good at is bombing other countries. So that's what it does, because it doesn't know what else to do. It's like, well, still got aircraft carriers, we've still got fighter jets. We'll just bomb the crap out of them and take their stuff. And I think if you do that enough, other countries will, well, organize themselves against this kind of bullying and gangsterism.
Mhm. Well, they haven't yet, and America can change course, and the electorate can get us out of this. If if the Groypers all go to the Democrats, then I guess MAGA will be out.
Yeah, but don't you see that it doesn't matter who is in, there will be another war. The president is just a figurehead who will be allowed to, do this some little thing, maybe, and take credit for it, like, Obamacare, um, whatever.
I know you believe it's
I
not
don't
the
know.
president, it's the deep state, it's all conspiring powers. It's this nameless, faceless, unnamed phantom that we're all supposed to be so scared of.
Well, not that you're scared of it. I mean, I
Okay,
guess
yeah, there's
you're
some.
beneath its
Okay, I know
motives.
you're just saying that some nameless, faceless, deep state is in control of everything.
Hmm.
Yeah, I'm surprised that none of these people have ever been called out by anyone who wishes to call them out. I'm surprised that not one name has ever come forward. Like, these people are really in control and are doing all these things. Like, why can't anyone point to this group of people?
Well, because they control the media, of
I
course.
know, but there must be defectors. There must be other people who know them, that that work with them, that see what they're doing, that they're up to no good. Like, nobody ever said anything.
But it's no independent journalism now. Tucker Carlson is probably the only,
Okay,
well,
not
one of the few independent journalists. Everybody just repeats government propaganda.
okay. Well, somebody, even a non-journalist, somebody. Trump must know who these people are. Why doesn't he just name them? He must know. He must have to deal with them, and they must have to, be trying to influence him. And if he doesn't want them influencing him, he could just name them and say so and so is a bad person.
Well, probably he doesn't get much credit for anything. And if he said anything, nobody will believe him anymore, will they?
Well, he never said it for the whole years and years he was in office, and I don't think Trump is the type that would just let other people push him around.
Well, I don't know what good he is doing. I mean, he seems to be just there to kind of pretend stuff has stuff has happened when it hasn't. But okay, you're happy with this opaque system where nobody really quite knows what is happening,
It's
and they're
not
not
opaque.
prepared.
It's not opaque. It's not opaque. You could go. There's poll watchers. You could go watch the polls if you want. They have poll watchers. And you can see every vote that comes in.
Did you believe that the election was stolen?
I don't know, but I doubt it.
So on
I
the
mean,
one hand, you're where's the evidence? You're going to ask.
yeah, where is that?
Well, there's a whole list of it, but I don't want to argue about that. Obviously, you will believe this, and I will believe a different thing. Um, I'm not a Democrat. I think every time you vote, the government gets worse, and you can actually um, correlate the two. How things have got worse every time you vote. So voting is bad for you because the government is getting worse. If you do agree that the government has got worse. And then you can say, oh, right, well, it's because you keep voting.
No, I don't think that's why the government has gotten worse because we vote.
So what is the reason?
What is the reason? Because the quality of the population has gotten worse, so there's less good, smart, intelligent people.
Yes, because America and the rest of the West is a matriarchy because they enjoy sexual liberation from the rules of marriage and good parenting. I didn't know we agreed. Fundamentally, we agree.
No, I didn't. Well, I mean, there's so much to that, Claire. You have
Thank you
to.
for agreeing with
Well,
me.
I've said no, I didn't agree, but I mean, I believe that. I mean, people shouldn't be encouraged to divorce or anything like that, or they should be encouraged not to have children out of wedlock or as single mothers and things like that. Yes, I mean they should be encouraged.
Yeah, but people need the carrot and the stick. Because I was just saying to Rob Cobb, I don't know if you've spoken to him or not. Have you the Australian? Maybe
I've
not.
spoken to him before. Yes.
So I was saying that you you kind of need to do the carrot and stick thing, and and I was proposing the, the
And who
thesis
is supposed to
that,
do the stick?
well,
Who's going to do the stick? You?
the law, the
I
government,
know which government full of.
social disapproval.
Yeah, I know by a bunch of divorced people.
Like
Anyone's.
you're the outlaw. You did the wrong thing. You're on the wrong side of the law. But okay, the point I was trying to make was that the Neanderthals, who were nomads, it was okay for them to have sex with each other. But when they settled down and started farming, it became, a matter of concern that the man who owned the land and farmed the land wanted to know that the children his wife gave birth to were his, right? Because he didn't want to think that he might be bequeathing his land and property to somebody not even related to him. So
Okay, but we're
that was
past
how
that. We're
marriage
not.
came.
We're no longer in like whatever period that is. Whatever it was, the Neolithic. I don't even know what period. The farming age.
Yeah, but
The
they couldn't keep it up, right? They kept breaking their own rules.
well,
They
I
were
just
still breaking
okay.
that
Well,
rule
it's time.
because we keep thinking we can get away with it.
Well, it's a different era, so something different needs to be tried. It doesn't work anymore.
No, human nature doesn't change. People think that they
There
can
is
cheat.
there's no such thing as human nature. There's only human behavior. Humans have different natures. We don't all have the same nature. Some of us want more than one relationship, and some of us don't. Like we don't. Monogamy is not necessarily like what all humans want.
No, I'm sure even people who are already married wish they could screw around, but they are also, or they used to understand that if you allowed them to do it, their civilization would collapse. And lo and behold, it has.
It hasn't collapsed.
Just give it time. It's
Yeah,
going
I
to
know the
heal.
gloom and doom prophecies. You always have World War III, this war, that famine. It's always, your gloom and doom prophecies. You just say, well, it hasn't happened yet, but it's going to happen, like global warming or rocket, whatever, meteors or whatever. You can just scare the public into these different kinds of things.
Well, if you accept that there is a problem with a growing number of unmarried parents and their damaged, illegitimate offspring who are not properly parented or educated or trained. Yes, it's a growing problem, and the longer you refuse to address it, the bigger the problem is.
Well, enslaving the population is
And
not the
you have
answer.
yourself noticed, you have actually said, "Oh, look at the people around me, that they're so
But they were saying that,
degenerate
and
and
they were
stupid."
saying that in Margaret Sanger's time too. They said, "Oh, look at all these people. They're breeding too much. They're not good quality, and we have a big problem." They were complaining about it too in their age. The president, whichever one, said, "I wish that we could sterilize all these insane people and stuff like that." There was lots of problems back then.
Okay, so if you have people who are never going to be able to lead a normal life, well, there are things you could do.
Um,
And yes, I mean, the Romans, well, the paterfamilias of the Roman Republic, he had a duty to produce healthy offspring. And this meant if it was deformed or unhealthy, well, we know what happened to
yeah,
it
well, we don't want to go back
after
to
its
that.
first month.
We don't want to go back to that.
Oh, so who's going to look after deformed
My,
infants
their
and
parents,
disabled?
either their parents
Well,
or
maybe they don't want to.
well, then why did you have children? You can't have children and then
Well,
expect them.
you want healthy ones. You don't want
Okay, well,
deformed
what if
and
they all come out?
invisible.
And then what happened? And then we've said this again.
Well, stop having them then.
What happens if the child gets injured, badly injured when it's 2 years old?
Okay, well, that's a different
So
thing.
you're just
That's a
gonna
different
dump
thing.
it? You're just gonna not love it anymore and dump it because it got
No, no,
injured?
we're talking about ones that are already born
Okay, so
deformed
what's the difference?
and deficient.
If you can't love your deformed infant when it's born, what's gonna make you love your deformed infant when it's two?
Well, there are ways of dealing with it, right?
Okay, well, I mean, we shouldn't be killing deformed infants. We should have a lot more compassion than
Okay,
that.
well, you look after them then.
Well, most parents do, and but yeah, as
Well, most parents do not wish to do that.
okay, so
That's
what
why,
are we supposed to kill them? What should we do? Kill them?
well, I guess these days you have the luxury of, passing them on like a parcel to some institution.
What? So what should we do? Kill them? Is your answer?
Well, there are ways of dealing with it.
Like how? Killing them?
Well, I guess, well, I've heard that, if the deformed infant that you just gave birth to, well, if you really don't like it, I guess you don't bring it back home.
Okay, so now the hospital has to take care of it, and the state has to take care of it.
Yeah, and what the hospital does is, well, they keep it comfortable and clean, but they don't feed it.
Yeah, so you're gonna starve it to death.
Okay, well, you look after it then, Vincent.
Okay, well, my mother looked after my brother until he was 9 years old. I mean, yeah, I mean,
Yeah, and now somebody else is looking
and
after
he
it.
was loved, and he's still loved, and my parents see him every weekend, and he's still loved.
Okay, so, well, I guess that there will be institutions to look after the
Okay, well,
the people who can't.
we don't want to spread a culture of if my baby comes out without a hand, I'm just gonna leave it at the hospital.
Well, it depends on the degree of disability
All
and
right,
they're going to
well, okay,
accept.
well, some people did you just hear about that surrogacy? They want the baby aborted because it's missing two fingers. They want the baby aborted because it's missing two fingers. So, I mean, who's to stop somebody from, if your child is missing a limb, from just leaving it at the hospital?
Well, somebody might want it.
Oh, so, we're supposed to encourage parents. We're not even supposed to shame parents for dumping their disabled infants in hospitals.
Well, we know what the Greeks did
I don't care what the
and the
Greeks did. We're
Romans.
not Greeks. We're better than them.
Okay, well, I
Well,
mean,
we're better than
Vincent,
them. We're better than them.
are we? Are we?
Yes, we treat our
Who
we
is the
treat okay,
judge?
well, we don't leave our infants out in the cold to starve to death. We don't do that.
It's a baby exchange place.
A lot of those children were left to exposure to die, or they were thrown in the river, or they were run
Or they were
through.
sometimes picked up by a shepherd.
Okay, well,
Like,
sometimes they weren't, Claire. This is not leaving children on hillsides is not a good social service program.
well, Western civilization nevertheless progressed.
After we stopped all that.
No, I think
Okay,
the
well,
ancient
it was a very hard
Greeks.
life to live like that. And I'm sure a lot of those mothers were quite upset that their infants were either left to exposure or thrown in the river. I'm sure that hurt a lot of people. I'm sure a lot of people didn't
I'm
like.
sure they did it
Oh, well,
themselves.
I'm sure it hurt a lot of people and they didn't like it. And I'm sure it was bad for their psyche. It's not normal to just take something that's been inside your womb for 9 months and just throw it in a river. That's not normal.
I don't think they actually threw it in the
Whatever,
river.
however they killed it or however they abandoned it, that probably left a dark area in people's minds.
Hmm.
Yeah, so, and if you're going to do that to the most innocent, most, helpless people on earth, what are you going to do to other people? How are you going to treat adults? What if there's an adult with a disability? I mean, how are you going to treat them? Are you going to treat them like shit? Like, oh, you should never have been born?
Well, I certainly don't say things like that to
Okay, well,
people of disability.
you're supposed to,
But obviously they're also a burden on the state.
okay, well, if the state is productive and the vast majority of the people are healthy, it really doesn't matter, and we should give
Yeah,
compassion.
but it's not, is
Well,
it?
in America, we have enough to give all of our sick Social Security, and my brother's
Well,
taken
you,
care
you, you
of.
seem to want to make them drug addicts and leave them on the streets,
And they don't do that in
which
other
is
countries.
pretty
Okay,
disgraceful.
and they don't do that in what country doesn't have homeless people? What
Well,
country?
I think
What
the
country
American
doesn't?
government moves them from state to state
Well, you think, and what country doesn't have a homeless
so
population?
so that they vote Democrat.
Well, a lot of those homeless people don't even have IDs or no residence to get an ID. Like, how could you can't vote without a
So
residence?
why were all these homeless people suddenly living in California and
They move there because it's
I don't know.
warm. Because it's warm. They move to the warm areas.
Okay, so maybe you need kind of interstate passports or something.
No, I don't think so. The point is that we should, I would like if I
Yeah,
had.
interstate passports under secular Quranism. How about that? But just oblige every U.S. State to look after its own people
Okay, but then
in
we have to show our
their own
IDs
state.
every time we cross the state border, which our roads even aren't set up that way. You have to put toll booths. People would have to take out their ID to show
I'm
their.
sure the military-industrial complex will do that easily.
Oh, rearrange our whole road system so that you have to show passports when you come into a country.
It's a job creation scheme.
No, that's too impractical and needless.
Maybe a lot of Americans would think are thinking, I wish I didn't have to keep moving from state to state to state to state just to get a job. I wish my state, my home state, could just give me a job, and so I can be with my family and my
Okay, most
friends.
people
And
can find a job in their state near their home. Most people work within an hour or two from their house.
well, what about the ones who can't? I mean,
Okay, well, I mean, sometimes that happens. It's not like the norm.
okay, so I mean, I imagine Californians would sort of like, all the homeless of other countries and the drug addicted not to be darkening their doors with their needs and wants and fentanyl addictions.
Okay, well, I mean, something has to be done to help the homeless crisis, but I mean, interstate passports, I don't think are it. They're too impractical and needless. I mean, I want to, okay, so I'd have to show my passport every time I went to go see my father in New York. I'm in New Jersey. Like, where would I even show the passport? Like, have everyone slow down on the throughway? That would cause traffic jams.
Well, you don't need to show your passport the whole time, but
Okay, well, how
obviously,
do you get into the next state without
well,
showing your.
people already carry credit cards and
Okay, but how do
debit
you show
cards, so what's
how
a
do you
big
show
deal?
your passport when you enter into a new state? If you have to show your passport every time you go through a state, how are you going to do that? There have to be checkpoints.
Well, maybe you don't have to strictly enforce it. You might, only if you're causing problems and whatever,
Okay,
or
then that is a
trying to get a
pointless. If
job or
you
whatever.
okay, that's the same as having a permeable border and just waiting for someone to commit a crime to.
Yeah,
Okay,
that'll
then there's no
do. But
point
then
for your
you really say
passports. There's no point for your passports. If people are just allowed to go across any border they want, then it's a pointless system. There's no point in all developing and redeveloping all of our roadways and all of the ways that we do interstate travel.
I'm just saying that the state in question should have a duty to, make sure that everyone in that country, sorry, in that state, who needs a job has a job that they can do. That pays a rent and feeds a family, etc. What's wrong with making this a requirement for
Uh,
all the 50 states of America? I think a lot of Americans would like that.
okay,
So they,
that's
they don't have to keep
idealistic.
moving from state
Required.
to state and keep buying houses and
Most
probably
people don't
losing
do
money.
that. Most people don't do that. But the you can't force the government can't make sure it can do a lot, but the government can't make sure precisely how the economy is running. Okay, they can't do it precisely. That it's not like the government can go out of its way to make sure everybody has great jobs and everybody is able to afford a house and stuff like that. That's not I mean, the economy is a little bit separate from the government, not totally, but they don't have that total control. And so you can't make laws like, oh, the government has to make sure everyone has a good job in a house. Like, it's not going to work.
Or they can at least, apply their minds to it.
Okay, well, are they like what? Like increasing the minimum wage, and now all those stores are closing in California, and nobody will hire anybody anymore, and they're putting up screens to do all the work for them. Is that how you fix it, by increasing minimum wage?
Why is that happening in California?
Because they increased the minimum wage. They increased it to $20 an hour, and they
Well,
don't.
I think you should just reintroduce slavery openly.
Well, I know, and this is your other. So slavery, like, no, people don't want to live as slaves.
Well, they're already the slaves of the state.
Everybody, okay, I'd rather be a slave to the.
Everybody in every country is
Okay, well, you
already
don't
a
want to be
slave of the
slave.
state.
You don't want to be even further enslaved. You don't want to take even more
No, you
of.
just want the government to look after you,
No, I'm
right?
sorry. And what way? The
And
government would do a shitty job looking after you. They give you shitty house, shitty food, like the government always does. You wouldn't. It would be like, it wouldn't be a pleasant lifestyle.
well, the idea is that people don't become slaves and watch their spending, so they don't,
Okay, you could
end
become
up
you could be
bankrupt,
working
whatever.
poor. In this country, you can be working poor. You could be work and still be very poor and very hard to afford things for yourself. And
Well, maybe they should ensure that property prices are affordable so that people will marry and whatever. As it is, I think it's only the foreigners who bother getting married, and that's also a problem for the heritage American, right?
mm,
Because they can't compete and they don't want to compete,
well, they
and
don't they don't want to
that
have
that
shitty they don't want to have shitty jobs that don't pay.
well, nobody does.
Well, the foreigners are willing to take shitty jobs that don't pay.
Well, because they think eventually they're going to move on to better things.
Well, I mean, it should be a better culture where the jobs aren't so shitty and the wages aren't so low.
Well, yes, I'm suggesting ways of making it better.
But by introducing slavery.
Well, if you don't want any more undocumented migrants, you'll have to, make sure that the workers come from people already in your country, right?
No
Otherwise, you'll
worker.
just be importing more and then complaining about it. I'm
Mm,
trying to solve your problems. It's like there's just the sheer negativity of it. I don't think you really want to do anything. You just want to complain.
I'm not complaining. You're the one who's complaining about the government as if it was like doing something horrible to everybody.
No, I'm just saying, if people are just getting so wound up about immigration, they have to understand the reasons of why it happened in the first place. And it's something to do with a low birth rate. And now we know it is. And it's not just in America, it's in Europe, it's in, Australasia, because they have the same policies, and that's why they have the same social and economic problems. And I'm making the connection, and everybody still wants to deny it. Maybe they just want to blame the Jews or something.
Okay, Claire, we've been going for
But
about
I'm saying,
an hour. I can go for a few.
okay,
Yeah. Do you want to go for a few more minutes?
why don't you tell people how to find you on X?
Oh, just real Vin Bruno.
Yes,
Real.
and Real Vin Bruno on X, and he has a space or more than one space every day if you like the topics he enjoys discussing. And currently, you're very keen on talking about the midterms
Yeah.
with Dan Bilzerian and um, Casey Pooch.
Casey
And
Pooch is out. Casey Pooch is out. Is out.
okay,
No,
and so you're still in.
Hmm?
Carry on, carry on.
Dan Bilzerian has no chance. He's just this blowhard,
He's just a groiper.
former cokehead.
Well, isn't it embarrassing and annoying to be represented by these losers?
Well, I'm not represented by them, but the people who vote
Okay,
for.
you're not a Floridian, but if I were a Floridian, I'd be hopping mad.
Well, I don't think he's going to win. So,
So you think it's Amy Acton or who's the other guy?
Vivek.
Okay,
Amy Acton and Vivek are running in Ohio against each other.
right. And in Florida, it is
Dan Bilzerian versus Randy Fine, and then James Fishback is running for governor, but he's not going to make it.
and who is Fishback again?
Fishback is a Groiper-aligned anti-Zionist person.
Mm-hmm. And what is Lucas Gage doing today?
I don't know. He puts out a video once a day. Let's see if he put out his video. Let's see. Did Lucas Gage put out his video? Have you heard of this stupid uncensored AI?
What do you mean?
Uncensored AI is this AI that's like super hardcore anti-Zionist. Like they sponsored the America First United.
No. Oh, right. So it's just. I mean, you probably could have what Nazi AI or Islamic AI or
Yeah.
no hide.
Yeah, you can have all these different kinds of AI.
How about God AI?
I don't think anyone could make that.
Well, they could actually. They can just sort of pretend it's God and then talk to everybody or force everybody to open an account and talk to God.
I don't think people are going to be talking to God through AI.
I sort of think I might try and do it. It'd be like confession, wouldn't it? And I think people want to confess to they need to confess their sins and get it off their chest. And E. Michael Jones has this theory that all these horrible Protestants who rejected the Pope, it's like, oh, they stopped going to confession, that's why they're so crazy, and oh, look at them in the First Great Awakening and the Second Great Awakening, and now they're going even crazier. Well, that's his theory anyway. And actually a lot of people want to confess. Oh yes. And yesterday I was thinking you could actually have a register of penitence. Register of penitence. What do you think of that, Vincent?
What would be the register of penitence?
So you think, oh my God, I'm led such a terrible life. I'm so sorry, God, everybody I've wronged. I want to confess And it's like, yes, yes, come along to register your penitence on the register of penitents. And the lower the number you are, the more high status as being, one of the first great penitents. What do you think?
I don't know, all these lists.
Yes. Winning by lists. My list system of making people feel better by putting them on a list.
Maybe.
Well, I think it could work. Anyway, I've been saying, if only Americans would accept me as their Jonah, then all their problems would be solved. And what do you think, Vincent? Are you a Ninevite?
No, I'm not. Do you know who this Red Ice Media is?
Not really.
Oh, they're these
I
anti-Semitic.
think, are they Swedish or
Yes,
something?
they are. One of them is. Well, he's just turned against Fuentes.
I told you my theory, I think CIA is just sort of going around paying all these people to rat on each other and give everyone a sense of hopelessness. Unless unless you have principles. So I've got it all figured out. And Vincent, you could be number one penitent. Or actually, I could be number one penitent.
Okay, Claire, I gotta go. We've been going for an hour, so I gave you a good run.
Okay.
All right, I'll talk to you
Yes,
later.
you did. Everybody go. Vincent Bruno's ex.
Bye.
Real Vin Bruno. Thank you, Vincent. Bye,
Yes,
everyone. Okay, I will now read the comments. I hope whoever posted the first comment is still there, but if not, they can, maybe they will go back to it. So, could I tell you all about my favorite music? Well, I like all kinds of things. My tastes are eclectic, but I haven't bought any music for ages. And I do have a Spotify account, but I haven't used it. I guess I like, well, off the top of my head, I like Bach, blues, bluegrass, and other things too. But as I said, my tastes are eclectic. The word sin isn't even in the Quran, says God's child, born again. But would you debate an Orthodox priest? Yes, of course, I would. Pick and Choose says, I don't need to know someone's name or see their face in order to consider their ideas. I never understood this critique. Yes, well, point this out to Neil Daedalus. I always find this a bit annoying. You can tell actually a lot by what somebody says and writes. And I think what Neil wants from me is to listen to him read the New Testament to me, and as long as I allow him to do that, he will consider trusting me. Alcohol isn't banned in the Quran. You just can't perform salah while drunk, says God's child born again. Alcohol being haram is later Sharia development. Same goes with pork. In the Quran, is pig even mentioned? I think it does mention not eating pork. Yes, there is a verse in the Quran that says, "Do not come to prayer so drunk you don't understand the meaning of words." The Quran does have a nuanced attitude towards alcohol, calling the wine a gift of God. So if God gives you a gift, I guess you should sip it delicately and not down it in one. Brett asks, Did I find that Wilson debate? I did have a look, but I couldn't find it. I don't know why you're talking about prostitutes, freak. Pick and Choose says there is a difference between inevitable human inconsistency and actual hypocrisy. I agree, but I guess hypocrisy is something you can confront somebody about. Well, both, and then you listen to their reasons, and you think, is somebody saying, "Oops, I have been inconsistent, haven't I? Oh dear," or they might start giving you irrational and irrelevant reasons for not following their religious principles. Pick and Choose says, if God wants us to believe in the same thing, he'd make it obvious to everyone. But nothing is obvious until it's pointed out again and again and again. And even then, there will be people who want to argue. But what I'm saying is that something that is obvious would have to be defended by facts and logic. So that's why we have low status beliefs and high status beliefs, right? And of course, the current political orthodoxy will be the high status belief, and the views of subversives and dissidents would be low status, and these views will change from age to age and decade to decade and even year to year. And I think the point I was trying to make with Vincent that he does not take on board is that if there's a range of hierarchies, if whatever we want to do, we go to the highest authority, if we want to get things done quickly. And that's why the Abrahamic God is so useful, because in theory, God is our best friend, right? He's supposed to know our thoughts and our hearts and minds, and that's the whole idea. And because he's omnipotent, he never gets tired of us moaning about things and asking for things and that sort of idea. And if we have this God consciousness that is called taqwa, then we will be ordering our lives and doing things according to his wishes, but only if we take his existence seriously, and we want to go to the better place in the afterlife through obeying his laws. And then if we take the whole thing seriously, we will obviously want to have a list of rules that we will religiously follow. And this is the logic of the entire belief system. So the point of believing in God would be, well, you'll attach yourself to these powerful religious groups, the Abrahamic religions, organized religions, Jews, Christians, Muslims. We don't quite know who is really the most powerful group, but if we attach ourselves to one of these groups, we will enjoy a higher status than if we said, oh, we're just pagans or atheists or commies or whatever, because secular political ideologies do not have much of a track record of longevity compared to the Abrahamic religions, and this is all I'm trying to say. So we need, I think life, since we go to school and find our friends, we are all seeking to find the best or the most powerful group to join who will have us, right? We may want to join all kinds of, professions, but maybe we're no good at acting or singing, and we won't become a member um of an opera group or whatever. But anyway, most of us manage to get into a group, and we in our status in those groups may be quite low, but anyway, we this is the purpose of joining groups, so we do not feel so alone. And obviously religious groups are the most powerful groups in the world, and if we think that our religion is failing, then the obvious thing is to find another one. And I've explained so many times, it's like Christians, you don't even have a proper divine revelation. It's not even divine. You're using the Jews. You're using the divine revelation of Jews, and then you're making up the rules as you go along, because nothing in the New Testament is clear, and the Quran has been around for 1400 years, but because of all kinds of reasons of pride and chauvinism and crusades and politics and whatnot, you do not avail yourself of the best available guide to humanity. And I don't think you can find a better guide to humanity apart from the Quran, even if you hate it. So that is the kind of obviousness I'm talking about. And the Trinity is very difficult to defend, and the oneness of God trips easily off the tongue. And we should, if we want to adopt a religion, obviously we want the one with the most powerful God, and we want a belief system that doesn't make us feel silly when we try to explain it to people who challenge us. Because it diminishes us when we, oh, I can't talk about the Trinity because, I'm not a trained theologian. And even trained theologians, they don't want to talk to me because I guess they know my shtick. And I'm only doing this to kind of make the point that the solution is really idiotically simple. It's just that all these accumulated centuries of trauma, of history, of chauvinism, and denial is not properly understood. And obviously there needs to be some kind of therapy and, a willingness to entertain a narrative that is easy to believe and has a happy ending for everyone concerned. And this is all that I'm trying to promote. Thank you all for